I'm going to tell you what made me change my mind on abortion, despite the fact that I don't think it makes me look great. I grew up in a conservative Christian family, and I definitely thought that being pro-choice was absolutely evil and that we should all be pro-life. So when I was 18, I ended up joining a religious cult, and that just made my mind further believe that this was probably like the most evil thing you could do. To the point where I remember looking up a list of businesses that supported Planned Parenthood, and I made a list of businesses that I wanted to boycott because I genuinely thought that they were doing so much evil that it would be unethical for me to shop there anymore. I ended up leaving this cult and I started to deconstruct a lot of my beliefs, but I was still pretty sure that I thought that abortion was wrong. That is until I left my abusive marriage in January 2020 after he strangled me. And it had been about 4 years of horrible abuse, and it took a lot for me to leave. And I remember sitting in my new bedroom as a single woman and thinking to myself, after all of these years of struggling and being so terrified to leave, what would I do if I found out that I was pregnant? And I immediately knew the answer, and that was I would get an abortion, which made me really look internally and realize that I was a massive hypocrite. Or at least I felt like one, because honestly, in what world could I say that abortion is wrong and people shouldn't get an abortion? But in my specific circumstance, when I am leaving an abusive marriage, I'm finally free from this person that I was afraid was going to unalive me for years. If I found out that I was pregnant and I would get an abortion, and I tell myself, it's okay for me because of this circumstance, I can get an abortion, but I still think abortion is wrong, that is so hypocritical. And I began to think about all the other circumstances that we don't see, like genuinely not being able to provide for a baby, not wanting to put your body through that, people who are leaving abusive relationships and don't want to have babies with their abusers, people who have been raped. Like, there are so many circumstances where if in their position, I would make that choice. And I know it doesn't make me look great to the fact that I did not realize how valid of a choice that was until I was in those shoes. But I think that that's something that conservative Christians don't think about. They don't think about the fact that, which I say this as someone who was in that. So like, I understand their thought process, where they're coming from. But what we need to realize is, what if your 13-year-old child was assaulted and you expect them to have that baby? And I don't know if you guys have seen that viral BYU video, okay, where somebody says, call your mom and tell her that you got a stripper pregnant at BYU. And this mom literally was like, tell her to get an abortion. And I think that that video, while funny, is so telling of the fact that once it comes too close, it seems like a more valid option for them. And my stance has further evolved as I've realized that there are so many valid reasons, as well as just the fact that the government should not be able to tell us what we can and can't do with our bodies. But I just wanted to add a little bit of perspective. If nobody has ever thought about this before, think, is there literally any circumstance where you could see yourself getting one? And if the answer is yes, then you are pro-choice.